Kona Khala, and I'm opening this YouTube account for the purpose of documenting my trading journey, right? So currently I have purchased a platform challenge on Equity Edge, being a 5K challenge, and I'll be documenting my journey on this 5K challenge from where I currently am to the point I pass the challenge, become funded, and get my first payout, and so on. I'll as well be documenting other platform challenges that I take on in my trading journey, me passing the challenge, me getting payouts from those platform accounts, right? So this is for the purpose of documenting my trading journey, right? So in front of you right now, as you can see, the instrument that I'm using is US 100, which is indeed a CFD, right? So I'm momentarily using US 100. Eventually, through my trading journey, I'll be using the futures, NQ, and so on in ES, right? So this is the free version on TradingView. Yeah. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So as you can see here on my chart, I have Fibonacci levels that I've marked, right? So from this low to this high right here, when we get 50%, this is where the market retraced into, which is why I have this level over here. This is on the monthly time frame. All right, we can see our price respected that level right over there. And then my joint liquidity for this month has been the 0.25 standard deviation level. So I anchored from this high to this low, and I have marked the 0.25 standard deviation level, and that is my current joint liquidity for the month. It was my joint liquidity for the previous month, so I am looking for price to reach into this level, meaning I am bullish on the high time frame. If I am bullish on the monthly time frame, it means every single week I'm going to try and look for a reason as to drawing towards the standard deviation level, since we are at all-time highs, right? So when we are at all-time highs, there's no liquidity to reach for besides standard deviation levels, right? So if we can look at US 500, so this is US 500 right here, and the same applies this side. I had marked this low, as you can see there, from this low to that high. If you just look at the cursor, to that high over there, right? And price respected the 50% level, right? So I am bullish on US 500 as well, and then I am targeting the 0.25 standard deviation level. I am bullish on the high time frame for US 500 as well, right? So I did the same thing here. I marked this high and this low. So from this high to this low, we got the 0.25 standard deviation level, and that is what I'm drawing for. And I'm also drawing for the previous monthly high. So for this month, I am bullish. My stance is bullish, meaning every single week I'm looking for a reason to be long. I am bullish, and we've created an immediate rebalance right over here. So I'm looking for a reason to draw to the previous monthly high. I am bullish for the month, right? Same here with respect to, we created an immediate rebalance, and we are now drawing for the previous monthly high, right? So I am not teaching ICT's concepts. What I am doing is just simply documenting my trading journey, right? So everything I've learned it from the Inner Circle Trader, Bring ICT. So go ahead to his channel and learn the concept that I'm talking about. I'm just showing how I apply the concept that I've learned from him. So all credit to ICT. Everything I know regarding trading, I've learned it from him, right? well, as far as these concepts that I'm currently using. Yes, so I'm just gonna be applying the concept that he's taught for free on his YouTube channel. So I am drawing for the previous monthly high. Alright, so if you go down to the weekly time frame, so if you look at the weekly time frame, my draw on liquidity has been for the previous weekly high. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing is that this is a trade breakdown for a trade that I took on Friday. Right, this is a trade breakdown for a trade that I took on Friday, and I'm showing you for what I was looking for. I took the trade on Friday, and I took a long because I am bullish for the week, looking for the previous weekly high. Right, same on US 500. My drawn liquidity is for the previous weekly high, and as you can see, we've respected this volume imbalance right here. Look at that. Price retraced into it, respected it, and then we drew for this old new day opening gap that I've marked here. So this is an old new day opening gap that I've marked there, and we are currently within it, but it was my drawn liquidity, and same as the previous monthly high, which is actually the previous weekly high. So that is my drawn liquidity. It has been my drawn liquidity for the entire week. I've been bullish for the week. Look at how we respected this volume imbalance right here. So that has been my drawn liquidity, and I marked the 50%, the consequent encroachment area of this week right here, right? So yes, so this was my drawn liquidity earlier on, right? As you can see, we've traded right through it, and we're now drawing for the previous weekly high. So for the day, on the trade that I took on Friday, my drawn liquidity was the previous daily high, right? So that's what I was targeting on my account, right? So I was targeting previous daily high. That was my drawn liquidity. So I was not willing to take anything short. I was not willing to do anything else besides look for a reason to be bullish and target the previous daily high. If the market did not give me that, I was not going to take a trade. I've been patiently waiting for longs because I am bullish on the high time frame, right? So a lot of traders might be looking at this as a rejection block, right? As a reason to be shorting. I am not looking at this as a reason to short because I want to see price trade through this and draw for this high over here. So I am not bearish. I'm not looking at this as a reason to be shorting the market, So I know a lot of traders might be looking at this as an order block, as a bearish order block, hoping that price will trade into this and begin shorting. I was not looking for any shorts. I'm looking for price to trade through this and draw for that high, right? So this is something that I learned in my trading journey, that narrative is crucial. It's very important, It's the reason why a lot of traders battle and think this is a short and end up getting caught on the wrong side of the market. I battled that too in the beginning of my journey, and until I realized that narrative is crucial and is important. So this is not a bearish order block to me. I'm looking for price to draw for that high over there. All right, cool. So let me just mark my drawn liquidity. So this is actually the previous monthly high. Previous monthly high. There we go. Previous monthly high. But for Friday, my drawn liquidity was for the previous daily high. And the same on US 500. So I use US 500 and US 100, right? I want them to be in sync. I'm looking for symmetry between the two every single time I take a trade, right? I need there to be symmetry. I need both of them to be heading. I don't want to see US 100 just trade bearishly, whereas I'm looking for longs. I need them to be in sync, right? So I was looking for the previous daily high as well, which we have not hit yet. We have not hit that yet. Price might gap up higher since I am recording this on a Sunday. Okay, cool. So that was my joint liquidity for the day. And yet again, I know some traders might be looking at this as an inversion fair value gap, looking for a reason to short. I was not looking at this as an inversion fair value gap. I wanted to see price trade through this. You know, a lot of traders would have thought that we are now shorting when they saw this. I was not looking at this as a reason to short. You know, a lot of traders may have also looked at the consequent encroachment level of this wick and thought that price is respecting it via the bodies. I was not looking for that. I was looking for price to trade through this and show higher. Same with this old new day opening gap, right? I'm not looking at this as, I don't want to see price use this to go short. I'm not looking for shorts. I'm looking for price to draw higher, right? So I am bullish coming into the new week. I think I should state that right now. So for Friday, this was my joint liquidity. I want to see price trading to this as well and draw higher. Yeah. So back to US 100. Okay. So if we look at this, right, you can clearly see that this is a high time frame market maker buy model, right? From the point where we inverted this CB, right? We inverted that CB. And I don't have this marked here, but price began, this buy program began at it began at the volume imbalance that I marked out earlier on, that I was referring to earlier on, right? From the weekly time frame. So that's where this buy program began, right? So as you can see, we're respecting fair value gaps. Price traded higher, began respecting this BSI. Look at the bodies. The wicks do the damage, the bodies tell the stories, as ICT says, right? So as you can see, this is just a clear market maker buy model. Look at how price respected this. I was also looking at how price respected this BSI right over here. Price respected this BSI as far as the bodies. I say this again, the wicks do the damage, the bodies tell the story. Price respected this as far as the bodies, traded back into this old BSI right here, and then we began trading higher. So these are all things that I was paying attention to when I was framing my long setup on Friday. I was also looking at the fact that we have this 4 hour. Also looking at the fact that we have this 4 hour BSI right here. Just looking at the fact that we have this 4 hour BSI. Where is this? Looking at the fact that we have this 4 hour BSI, and look at how the body just respected consequent encroachment right there. So I was paying attention to this, and this was just making me confident in looking for longs. And at the time, we had not taken out these. If in the lower time frame, these are relative equal highs. These are just smooth highs, right? These are smooth highs. So I was looking at the fact that we have equal highs at the top, which made it high probability for me to look for longs, right? So I looked at this like this, yeah. as looking at these equal highs. So as you can see, when I trade, I basically do a top-down analysis, right? I need each time frame to correlate with one another as I frame a setup, right? So the same with US 500. As you can see, we are in a high time frame market maker buy model, right? Look at this. This is that old volume imbalance that I marked out. Look at how price began the buy program within it. Look at the bodies, just respect the bottom of it. You know, we inverted this, traded into this Bessie right here, we respected it, and then yeah, look at how price just respects this inversion fair value gap right there. You know, look at how we respect that. Look at how we respect that. Right. So these are things that I was looking at during the week. I was looking at all of this as I'm trying to look for a long position. I was paying attention to all of this. Right. Look at how we also respect this BC right here. Right. I was paying attention to all of this. On Thursday we got shorts. I was not looking for shorts, so I didn't really trade when the market was shorting here. I didn't really participate in this because I was looking for a reason to long. And then price only began the buy program in the PM session, in which I only trade the AM session, right? So as you can see, these are just I'm just paying attention to all of this as I'm looking for a reason to be long. Look at our price just respected this BC right here. So I was looking at this BC. I was paying attention to this BC right here. Right. Boom. Okay, cool. So I'm seeing that we have a market maker model playing out on both US 100 and US 500. I can't wait for the days that I'm using NQ and ES, so I can say NQ and ES. Alright, so for at the moment, as I said earlier on, I'm using US 100 and US 500 for the moment, right? Okay, there we go. And I'm also not looking at this as a CV to short. I'm looking for price to trade through it and draw for the previous daily high and eventually the previous monthly high and the 0.25 standard deviation level. Right. So if we go down to the hourly, let me just remove this real quick. Alright. So on the hourly time frame, right, I'm currently using this indicator right here, right? So it marks out it marks out the previous 5-day new day opening gaps and the previous 5 new week opening gaps, right? So I was paying attention to this new day opening gap right here. Just look at how price was just respecting it, right? So this is where my attention was. I was looking at how price is respecting this new day opening gap. You know, we had traded right there, respected it via the bodies, right? So I'm looking at all of this as I'm trying to frame longs. We have equal highs as I've marked out. We have equal highs right there. I'm looking at this and my joint liquidity remains for the previous daily high, right? And then as we look at this leg right here, if you look at this south side of the curve, what we see is that we have a inversion fair value gap right here. Right. I know ICT says that you should mark it out like this. Right. I'm very conscious of that, but I had marked it out this way. Yeah. This is how I had marked it out. So just look at how price just respects it as far as the bodies. Just respects this. So now we have a confluence of level. We have this new day opening gap, and we have this 1H inversion fair value gap. So I'm looking at this coupling right here. I'm looking at this coupling, and I'm just seeing price respected in my favor, which is for longs, right? So as we can see, we traded down into this new day opening gaps. So I'm looking for a reason to target these equal highs and the previous daily high. Very simple. I'm bullish, and everything's starting to make sense in terms of being long. If price would have shorted, I would have not traded anything. I would have not sold. I would have not looked for shorts. I would have probably looked for a reason to be long within here. But my point is that I was looking to buy the market. Same with the US 500, right? So in US 500, so this is that old new day. This is the new day opening gap for Friday, right? So I marked it out right there, and yes, yeah. So I trade US 100. I don't really trade US 500. Yeah, the only asset that I'm focusing on is US 500, and eventually it's gonna be NQ. That's what I trade, right? And I just use this as for market symmetry. I use this for market symmetry. So my attention over here was on this downcloth, was on this order block, right? This is where my attention was. Look at how we respected as far as the bodies. My attention was on this order block. So these down close candles are just one order block. These consecutive down close candles, as ICT teaches, are just one order block. But my attention was on the lowest one, right there. So I'm looking for price to respect that and trade higher, right? And draw for the previous daily high, right? Okay, cool. So that's what my attention is on. Drop down to the 15-minute time. 15-minute time frame. Right. Okay. So as you can see, we've cleared out all this liquidity over here. We've ran out south side, right? We traded into this old new day opening gap, right? And we clearly respecting it. We respected it in London session, right? We respected it during London, and now we're gonna respect the same PDRA in New York. So that's what I was looking for. We have clear equal highs. Why would you short this? There's no reason to short when we have equal highs. This is my drawn liquidity, and we're bullish on the high time frame. Right, we are bullish on the high time frame, so we want to be in sync with the high time frame. We have equal highs, and yeah, I'm looking for buy side. That's my drawn liquidity, and eventually I wanted to see price draw for the previous daily high. That was my main. This is my main drawn liquidity, right? It's my main drawn liquidity. Same in US 500, right? But if you notice, we do not have equal highs in US 500. We had ran that out in the beginning of the New York session. We ran out these highs at the beginning of New York session, right? Okay, but my attention is simply on the fact that we're respecting this order block. That's all I'm paying attention to on US 500. The fact that we're respecting this order block. So to me, that tells me that we are bullish. So I was looking at all of this. So to me, this is not a break of structure, trading to this fair value gap, and then we short. So this is the importance of narrative, right? We can't just short this SIBI right here. So we can't just short this. We can't just short this fair value gap because narrative is important. I'm not looking for price to trade in there and look for shorts to target this low. So that's basically pattern trading. So it goes back to showing the importance of narrative, right? You need to know where are we in the higher time frame, what are we reaching for in the higher time frame. So we are reaching for the previous daily high. That's what we're reaching for, and we're reaching for the previous monthly high. After the previous monthly high, we're reaching for the 0.25 standard deviation level, right? So that's what we're looking for. So narrative is crucial. The same goes for US 500. Yeah. Previous daily high, joint liquidity. I'm looking for price to trade through this old volume imbalance. Draw for the previous monthly high, and then draw for the 0.25 standard deviation level, right? So those are my draws on liquidity, right? So now if you drop down to the 1 minute, excuse me, yeah, if you drop down to the 1 minute, right? So my attention is on the fact that I'm very conscious of the fact that, okay, cool, we open here at 9:30, we displace higher, right? My attention is on these highs. I'm not looking at this as a Judah swing, because a lot of people, because from 9:30 we expecting a Judah swing to the opposite side, right? And then we're expecting that displacement higher to be some sort of manipulation, and then we get the true move, which is going lower. So I was not looking at that, which is why narrative is important. I'm not looking at this as a Judah swing, because here's the liquidity. The liquidity is up here, This is where the liquidity is, right? And just look at how we're respecting this PDRA, right? So that's where my attention is, right? So we got this fair value gap right here. This is not the first presented fair value gap. It's not. The first presented fair value gap is this little pocket here. I'm not sure if you can see that. This is the first presented fair value gap, right? That's it right there. Okay, so I was actually looking to long in this, right? But obviously, as you can see, if you would have bought this, you would have clearly been manipulated out, you would have clearly been manipulated out. So I did not buy this here because I wanted to see price trading here, respect this, draw higher, and then I look for something else to long, right? I was looking for something else besides this. This comes through just market experience, So if you would have bought this, you are indeed on side, because as you can see, look at how the bodies respect this 1 minute busy. We respect it as far as the bodies, because as we know, the wicks do the damage, runs at this sell side liquidity, and then draws higher. So this is just manipulation right here, right? And then the bodies tell the story, This just shows that we're bullish, So all this was just manipulation, and as you can see, price respects this PDRA right here, this BC right here, because his ICT has taught us. He has taught us that these levels do not expire. You can stretch them out and continue to use them, right? So this is price just reclaiming this 1 minute busy. Price has reclaimed this 1 minute busy, and we are using it right there again, right? So it doesn't matter that it has been failed. No, we keep using it, So these levels don't expire, So I was looking at this. Look at how price just respects the consequent encroachment right there, and we trade higher. We also have this down closed candle right here, this order block, right? We have that right there, and I'm pretty sure. Let's see if price respects the 50% of it. Yeah, look at that. Look at how price just respects that, right? Cool, right? So price manipulated lower, trading into the consequent encroachment of this 1 minute busy, and then we traded higher, right? And then yeah, so my entry, I wanted my entry to be in here. This is where I was looking for my entry to be. This is what I wanted to take. This is what I wanted to take. Yeah. But for some reason I was late. I was late on this trade. I was late because I was also trying to take the trade on my challenge, on my equity edge challenge, right? So I was also trying to open a trade on my phone, and for some reason this just happened really quickly. But I did manage to get in, I'll tell you that, and became unprofitable. Right. So this is what I was looking for my entry. I was looking to enter right there and target the previous daily high. Right. Look at that. So what I did is that, so this is what my trade would have looked like. It would have looked like this. My stop loss would have been below the consequent encroachment of this wick. This is where it was, matter of fact. This is where my stop loss was, right? Just right below it, you know. Because if we are bullish, we don't want to see price trade below this, because we want to see price respect this 1 minute BC. We want to see price respect this order block, right? We want to see price respect this 1 minute BC, right? So that's more than 3 PD arrays, right? If we are indeed bullish, we don't want to see price trade back down here, because it might as well just run out all this liquidity, you know. So this is where my stop loss was. Some trader stop losses right here, but I was giving price some room to move, and I was looking for price to respect at least the consequent encroachment of this wick right there, right? And my target was the previous daily high, giving us a more than 1:3, right? So this is what I was looking for. All right, this is what I was looking for, to enter right here, stop loss right there, target right there, giving us a more than 1:3, right? So this is a very good trade, right? You know, a lot of traders may have looked at this as we ran out buy side liquidity and now you start looking out for shorts. For me, narrative is important. I say this again. We're not looking at this as we ran out buy side and now we should look for shorts. No, because we are targeting the previous daily high. We are bullish. Same as on US 500, as you can see. As you can see in US 500. So I don't use this to trade, as I've told you. I'm just using this for the sake of market symmetry. Right. Look at how price respects this 1 minute BC. Look at the bodies. Respects that little volume imbalance right there. We include that whenever we're marking out a 1 minute, whenever we're marking out a fair value gap, as ICT has taught us. Right. Cool. So yeah, we trade into that. We are respecting it. We are going higher. Yeah. Entered. So let me just show you the execution that I took. So I took a trade on my paper trading account, and I took an execution as well on my challenge, right? So let me show you my paper trading execution. So as you can see right there, so as I said, I was late, right? I was late in this trade for some reason. I ended up entering somewhere here, and then I rode it and got stopped out right there because I trailed my stop loss. I'll explain that. Right, so this is my execution. I entered somewhere here and I got stopped out. Yeah, this is where I entered. I was late on the trade, but we still came out profitable. And I'm improving on my skill. I will become better. But yeah, we caught this trade regardless, came out profitable, you know. My skill will definitely improve, you know. So yeah, caught this, came out profitable, happy about it. Yeah. So this is what I took. yeah, let me just remove this. Right, so look at how just price was just respecting all of this. Price respected this 1 minute busy. We didn't even draw down to consequent just to show us that we're heavy. Market is heavy. We didn't even draw down to consequent encroachment. This is what we're looking for. These are the type of signatures that we're looking for. So if you would like, if you want to, I don't know why, but anyway, yeah, there we go. So if you like, you can take this as an entry. I ended up trailing my stop loss, which is why I was okay with the fact that I was late on my entry, because I quickly trailed my stop loss to below this order block. Right, this is where I trailed my stop loss to be. So I quickly trailed my stop loss right there. You could have taken another entry. I did not take another entry. You could have taken another entry as well, right here. Look at how we just failed to get to consequent, just to show us that we are heavy. You know, these are the type of signatures that you want to see when you're on side. Right. So we trade higher, we respect this order block right here, and I eventually trailed my stop loss. To below this order block right here. I know a lot of us ICT traders, because I saw another influencer as well trail his stop loss right there. I know a lot of us trailed our stop. Whoever took this trade, I know a lot of us trailed our stop loss right there and got stopped out prematurely and got our target hit eventually. But it's okay, because we came out profitable. It's okay. Yeah. So price eventually hit my John liquidity on US 100. We're still looking to draw for the previous daily high, right? We're still looking to draw for that. So this was my overall execution. So I have a recording of me just managing this trade, right? So the link to me managing this trade can be found in the description below. All right, it's a link to my Twitter account of my live executions, right? So you will see how I manage this trade overall in real time. Yeah, so you'll see how I manage this trade, and yeah, you can just tap the link in the description below, and it'll take you to my Twitter account, and you'll just watch me manage this trade. Yes, so that's what I did. Executed the trade on my challenge as well. Came out profitable. Yes. So what I'll be doing is that at the end of this video, I'll be showing you my 5K challenge. Right. I'll be showing you, because this is for documenting purposes. So I'm going to be completely transparent about it. I'm going to show you every single trade I take on that account. Right. To the point where I pass the challenge and I become funded and I get my payouts. Right, I'll be transparent about the account till I pass it and get a payout. Right. So yes, so at the end of this video, I'll be showing you the account and you can just see. All right. So I went on the trade that I executed on the account is that I went very light, right? Because the max drawdown that you have is actually $250, right? So that means that I have 5% room to work with, right? So I can split that in a manner whereby I have 5 trades to use, but for the trade that I executed on Friday is that I risked 0.5%, right? So I risked 0.5% on the trade, and I'll just show you the outcome of that. I risked 0.5%, right? So yes, and another thing that I do want to point out too, regarding the account is that it's as far as like your drawdown, it's trailing, right? So doesn't matter whereby your trade came out profitable. The fact that you had some drawdown, it's you know how it works, right? You know how it works. So yes, I'll be showing you the account, and I'll keep you posted on my journey into this 5K account, and my journey to becoming funded, and my journey to getting payouts, right? I'll keep you guys posted every single time I execute a trade on that account. I'll keep you guys posted, right? I'll keep you guys posted. I'll be transparent about it. I'll be transparent about my wins. Yes, I'll be transparent, and I'll let you guys know. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is, this account is just something that I want to look back to. I want to look back at my development and just see how far I've came. And this is just for encouragement for myself. This is just me documenting my trading journey and finally becoming profitable. I'll let you guys see on all of that. I'm documenting my journey right here. Alright, so thank you for watching, and you will see the account at the end. It's been great. Enjoy your day and be safe.